Welcome to the Crawlcast. I'm your host, George Krawczak, and this is one of my biggest hot takes is I think Austin Theory's cash-in could have saved Money in the Bank. And I'll explain in this video how. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Now let's get started. So everyone knows Austin Theory's cash-in was a huge failure. He cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on the United States Championship and lost. It is known as one of the worst cash-ins in WWE history because he tried to cash in on a mid-card title and he still lost. And then he ended up winning the belt like 2 weeks later. And I agree, I think that was really bad. And if he was going to lose, he honestly should have just cashed on Roman him with a spear, and he lost. And that's how it should have been if he was going to lose. But I think it could have been great, and it really would have helped a lot of future Money in the Bank winners. And now hear me out. I know what you're saying. Oh, it sounds horrible, but I think it really could be great for the Money in the Bank contract as a prospect. So I think Theory's cash-in could have been great. The big issue is that at that time Roman Reigns was champion, and he'd only show up like 10 times a year. So Austin Theory had a limited number of times. He'd like, okay, I only have about 10 cash-in opportunities before Roman leaves again, and then I have no shot at cashing in at all. And we saw a couple of those where he tried to cash in and Tyson Fury stopped him, and he tried to cash in and Brock Lesnar stopped him. But I think Austin Theory could have had a great story in cashing in on the United States title. I think he could have been like, I needed a championship so bad. I want to be champion so bad in the WWE that I just saw an opportunity to take one and he grabbed it. And that's why he cashed in on the United States title. Because I think it could have been good because if you look at Gunther's Intercontinental Championship run, that is probably the greatest Intercontinental Championship run of all time. And I think a lot of that was due to Roman not being there because Roman Reigns, like I said, only showed up like 10 times a year and there's only like 10 opportunities to beat Roman, it felt like Gunther's title was the new top belt because you had so many different guys who had so many different chances to win the championship. And that's why he had great matches week to week. And honestly, I think Theory could have done that. Not necessarily to the level Gunther did, but he could have just been like made the U.S. title the top title on one of the brands, because whether it's Raw or SmackDown, each show needs a top title, and with Roman not being there, that automatically pegs the U.S. title into one of the top pictures, kind of like it did for Gunther, pegging the Intercontinental Championship as the top championship. Because right now, it feels like there's a big issue with the world champions being locked in. And what I mean by that is, for example, when Roman Reigns was the world title holder, everyone knew he's not going to lose by cash in. He has this record setting reign and he's going to lose at WrestleMania. And then you also had, for example, last year, you had Cody Rhodes and Gunther who were locked in as your world champions. So it felt like Damian Priest was a little bit wasted as a transitional champion and that he really didn't matter that much because everyone's like, okay, so he beat Drew for the title and now he's going to immediately lose it to Gunther because his reign is kind of not that important. And so I think that was a big issue where he's like, okay, he's a wasted transitional champion, and now we're going to the real champion that they want. It's Gunther, and they kind of had to get it out of the way. And same with Drew McIntyre's cash in, where he cashed in on Damian Priest and lost because it felt like this Money in the Bank contract is like, okay, we need to just get it off real quickly, so then we can have the real champions, Gunther and Cody Rhodes, be there. So I feel like this could be great if you add the mid-card titles, because then all of a sudden it gives you two more titles to cash in on, and I think it gives you more excitement and more opportunities. And then this also allows for some like more mid-card contenders to win, and I know it's not that great having a mid-carder win it, but you do have to keep in mind this allows WWE to have a little bit more leeway with Money in the Bank, because the way it feels with Money in the Bank is that is the like elevation of someone into the main event scene. And I think that totally could work, but with these long title reigns, it feels like it doesn't work. And some years you just don't have that guy who's ready to step up and be in the main event. Like for example, you have the Royal Rumble where you have guys that can lose their match at WrestleMania because Royal Rumble basically only guarantees a title shot at WrestleMania, and you could just not be as good as the guy. Whereas the cash-in is almost a guaranteed championship win because it's like, okay, you're picking the time, you're picking the place, you're cashing in when is best for you and presumably worse for your opponent. So you kind of have to succeed at the cash-in. So it does give WWE a little bit of a wiggle room where it's like, okay, so if we don't feel like we have the guy right now, instead of making them lose or being a transitional champion that no one cares about, this gives them more opportunities, like winning a mid card title. Well, you may say, why would someone cash in on a mid card title instead of winning the world title? Well, I think there is multiple ways you can do this. I think you can just have someone say like when I use the Austin Theory example, I want a title so bad I saw an opportunity and took it. Like for example, there might not be a great time to cash in on the world champion, and the person just can't wait. Where it's like, okay, I saw the U.S. champion down, or I saw the Intercontinental champion down, and I had to cash in because I never really had the opportunity of seeing the uh, world champion down. Like you can use this as, for example, John Cena. He's the WWE champion right now. He doesn't show up every week, so the guy can just be like, well, instead of waiting for one of the weeks Cena shows up, I had to do it now immediately because I need that gold. I need that title so bad. And also, I think they could use it for a title they haven't won yet. Like, for example, Sheamus or John Cena, they never won the Intercontinental Championship. So if, let's just say Sheamus wins it this year, he can be like, I never won the Intercontinental Championship in my life, and I've always wanted to win it to become Grand Slam champion, and that is the reason why I cashed on the Intercontinental Champion to win it like this. And then the final reason is I think they can just use it to screw over another opponent. Like, for example, Seth Rollins and CM Punk. They're in a feud and they hate each other so much right now. And this applies to almost any feud there is. Let's just say CM Punk wins the U.S. Championship, then Seth Rollins can win Money in the Bank, and he might cash in on CM Punk being the United States Champion, just saying, hey, I cashed in on CM Punk because I don't want him to hold this title, and I don't want him to hold any title because I hate him that much. So that's another reason why you can have like people cash in on a mid card title, and it wouldn't necessarily make them lose any credibility when it comes to potentially winning the world title, saying like, "Oh, you're so stupid. Why would you cash in on a mid card title when you could cash in on a world title?" Well, it's because opportunity. It could be screwing someone over, or it could just because they never won that title before. So I think this could really help Money in the Bank, and especially if there are like long-term plans for world champions. You can have someone cash in on mid-card titles because it opens up more doors, and it also opens up more doors for more wrestlers who maybe don't feel ready for the world title scene just yet to win and elevate themselves with the championship of a mid-carder and then potentially elevate themselves to a main eventer, like kind of like Braun Breaker. He and Gunther as well. They both won the Intercontinental Championship, and then they worked their way up to the main event. So let me know your thoughts on this on the comments below, and if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, and I'll see you on the next one.